Welcome to the Ice Cream Boys.
We're not doing that one.
I'm leaving that shit in, you racist fuck.
This episode is sponsored by Fry Rice. Do you cook it on a wok?
That's so racist.
It's okay. We're like,
we love the culture.
We're really good friends with like people who own a hibachi place. We can say shit like that. That's the I've got a black friend of the Asian culture.
That's literally my neighbor's pet rock is black.
Don't do that when I gotta drink. When I drink water.
Well, this episode's not a spit take, so.
So this is Taboo Talk. We're the Ice Cream Boys. I'm Travis Gringo Mandingo St. John, and this is Jose J. Smooth Guerrero. That's gonna change every time. I'm not gonna.
That's fine. I was gonna say.
I'm just stealing that from Michael Rappaport, and it's just because I'm a giant, jacked white dude. So if you saw our first episode, that one got a little dark of me talking about, my stuff. And this, we're trying to just, so the whole point of Taboo Talk, if this is your first time tuning in, is we're just trying to talk about real shit and doing it uncensored and being just honest about it and being open. It's like,
I feel like a lot of people don't really like to talk about things.
Well, they don't like to talk about things, and then it's like, hence the name of why we're doing this. Some things are too taboo. Sex is taboo. Politics is taboo. Talking openly about your relationships and stuff is taboo. You're supposed to keep things hush-hush. You're not supposed to... Now, here's the thing. Is like, if we talk about individual people or stuff like that, we're never going to name drop. If you watched our last one where I was talking about my suicide attempts, I never name drop any of the people.
We're giving everybody code names. We're going to give everybody fake names. So, when you hear this fake name...
So, if Jose... is talking about someone he's like, oh, this is Gojira. He's talking about some Asian person because he's racist as shit.
Cut.
No, it's staying in there.
It's staying in.
You're Mexican. You get to be racist.
No, that's not a rule.
No, it is.
That does not exist.
You get to say racist shit.
About Mexicans, yes.
No, about anybody.
No,
that's not how it works. Y'all can drop the N-bomb.
No.
I've seen it happen.
Not from me.
Bro, so Derek, one time we were talking about, I forgot what we were talking about. Derek, black. He's my box coach. He's my brother. He told me one time, he goes, we were talking about the word, right? And he goes, I kind of want you to just say it. And I was like, what? And he goes, I really want you to call me it. And I was like, why? And he goes, I don't know. It's just something that would get me excited. I was like, bro, I'm not calling you that. And he was like, come on, it's the same. You used to do it all the time. And I was like, Derek, I'm not calling you that, bro. And he was like, come on, just say what's up one time. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. I feel like this is a trap.
It's like he's going to take pleasure from it. He's like, yes, hard R.
No, so, a friend of ours, I'll tell you off air, title, Monday Night Coach.
Yes.
Yes. I asked him one time, because this is getting off the rails. We'll get to the topic in a second. I asked him one time, because we got brought up the topic of him. He's black. Him and white women. And
yes.
The word,
oh my god.
The word got brought up.
Oh no.
And I was like, yo, it's always like been weird to me when I hear like those white girls that date black dudes and then they say it all the time. And I'm like, I feel like that's odd. And he was like, nah, bro, I love that shit. And I was like, why? He goes, bro, especially in the bedroom. And I was like, is this kind of like a fuck you
like
whitey
domination
thing? And he was like, yeah, 100%. And I was like, I was like, if I have a daughter, bro, stay the fuck away from her, my guy.
That man, we would talk for hours after his Monday night class.
Dude, we need
would tell
we need the
I
old,
need to get
we need the old team just back together again to do an episode of this one time. We'll have to get me, you, Jacob, Derek, him. We're gonna bring him on. It's Daniel. We're gonna fuck it. He won't care. He'll probably laugh his ass off shit this shit.
He probably will. There's so many stories, and I'm not gonna share them. They're not for me to share.
We'll have to do a title box and downtown for
reunion,
just video and reunion one day too. Talk about all that crazy shit.
That'll be dope.
But so today's topic is gonna be interesting. We're gonna be talking about dating. Dating both, because we both kind of had this scenario where you went a long time without dating. You're in a happy, very, very, very happy and successful relationship now. But you went a long time without dating, and then
I went with a long time without having someone constantly.
I dated. So you dated, but you were never like in a relationship for a long time. Meanwhile, I just got out of a 3.5-year relationship about 10 months ago, and so I'm like,
it's a whole different world now.
Yeah,
it's so different.
Well, it's not just. So here's my thing, right? I mean, we hate to say it, I moved on very quickly. And where I had a fling with somebody that I've had multiple flings throughout my life with, from when I was like a teenager to early 20s to then again 9 months ago.
Right.
And so that just kind of fell into place where it was just a person that we had just talked recently and I genuinely wanted to steer because I do care about her, even still now, even though we're not talking anymore. And that just kind of fell into place literally a week after. And I was like, okay, but so it's weird that didn't work out, and I completely understand why it never has. And it's like when you've known someone your entire life, that can either be a really good thing or like a really weird thing. And I feel like it's just one of those things that's like we've seen each other since then, everything's fine. But it's just one of those things where it's like I don't know if this would work, you know. But now it's like I've been actively dating and like new people, and dude, after like a 3.5 year relationship, shit's weird. It's weird, and it's weird for multiple reasons. One, where it's like, first off, we're in this. I don't think we can say we'll get demonetized on YouTube. We're in this. We'll call it a crisis that we're a part of right now. For the past 10 months, we've been in this crisis. Yeah. So already that's been like difficult dating because it's like you couldn't really for the first 6 months go anywhere.
Yeah.
Right. So then also me, I'm not. So this is weird to say because it sounds almost lazy, but it's not. I was in a relationship for 3.5 years. Like things got very comfortable, and we were like go out people. We were kind of like stay home, play board games, watch MMA, and like smoke a hookah and eat dinner together, and like that was it. And so I realized like I do enjoy that, and I'm still to this day I'm not like a restaurant guy or a dinner. I don't go to bars. I don't drink like that. So it's one of those weird things where I meet people, and they're like, "Yeah, what do you want to do on our first date?" And I'm like, "Do you want to just come over and I'll cook you dinner and we'll just like bullshit?" Yep. And then it's like, it's weird because I'm an adult now, and I realize that people are like, "Are you just trying to like you're inviting me over to your place for your first date?" And I'm like, I promise it's harmless. Like, I'll be good. I swear to God, I'm not going to do any stupid shit. And I genuinely just want to get to know you. And it's just, this is where I'm comfortable. And I like cooking for people and shit. But to a girl that I'm just meeting, like, I'd like to think most people meet me and they automatically see that, like, of who I actually am. Right. And most people do. But I do understand as a female how you're, like, apprehensive. Especially when I'm a 6'2", 220-pound fucking dude.
And not just that, there's a lot of freaks that will do that and take advantage of you. So like I don't blame them for thinking that. No,
I don't either.
Like you got modern day Ted Bundys.
Oh god.
That are just weird, man. Like there's so many stories that I've found or that I've heard from people that I know that they brought someone they met on any of these dating sites, Tinder, Bumble, whatever, and then they bring them to their house.
So, not only that, but I've, especially like on dating apps, that's the thing. And I had a girl tell me recently, not a girl I was dating, just a girl I'm friends with, that like her friend was on Tinder, right? And that she agreed to meet up with this dude, and then the fucking FBI showed up at her house, and they're like, "Hey, were you about to go on a date with yada yada?" And she was like, "Holy shit, yes, why are you guys here?" And they're like, "He's a sex trafficker." And she was like, "What?" And so they're like, "How we're gonna go on the date for you, just keep texting him, tell me you're about to be there, and we're gonna do a sting and we're gonna go get him." So like, very strong chance this dude was gonna kidnap this girl and like try to sell her into sex slavery. So it's like, I get it, right? And it's just, I know who I am. And
but also there's a lot of females that just go to get a free meal.
Yeah, that's true. So on that topic,
it is not worth that free meal.
So back when I was like 19, I met this girl and she was gorgeous and way out of my league. And so I asked her out and she was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Okay, cool." And this is like the most dickish thing I've ever done. So I go pick her up and I get out. I open the door for her. I close the door, and the entire time.
So disrespectful.
"Hey, so you cool with going to this place?" "Yeah, that works." The entire drive there. Get out, she puts her phone in her pocket for a second. Get in the restaurant. sit down. I pull up the menu, and she just... And I'm like, do you know what you're gonna get? And she was like, I'm looking at, like, pictures of stuff right now. And I was like, okay. And
I would have ordered... If that would have happened to me, I would have ordered the whole fucking menu, and then
you're gonna
excuse myself to the bathroom.
You're gonna like what I did. So, after, like, 5 minutes of her sitting on her phone, so this has been, like, 25 minutes straight on her phone. Because the drive was, like, 20 minutes. And then we were there for, like, 5 minutes. And I was like, this is how this entire night's gonna go. Because I'm the entire time on the drive and everything, I was trying to initiate conversation.
And she wasn't having
And I'll get, like, one-word things. And this isn't like the date's been going on, so you're not into me. And this
Right
it's from the very first second.
Wow.
So I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. And I just hear, I just fucking leave.
I would order food.
So here's the best part. How long do you think it was before she realized I was gone and asked a question?
I wouldn't say like 25 minutes.
It was 35 minutes later that I get a text. Are you coming back from the bathroom? I was like, nah, fam, I left. And she goes, what the fuck? And I was like, you're on your phone all the time. You can call an Uber. And I was just like,
savage. Savage.
It was so dickish, bro. But it's like, I just felt like, you know, it was one of those scenarios. I don't do shit like that anymore because I now know, like, if I'm going to get along with somebody or not and what kind of people are. And I actually, like...
I'm not doing this on video.
That's fine. And, you know, so, and that's the key thing, too, right? So, we'll get into it eventually. We'll do a podcast about actual relationships and themselves. You know very well that what I just got done with. And
Yes.
I had to make a lot of promises to you and Emily and Derek and everybody else about my choices in women and who I'd be dating down the line. So now it's well, here's the thing is, you know, I could say I regret losing those 3.5 years, and I do in a sense, but also it's put me in this point that I am in the happiest position I've ever been in. For the first time in my life, I don't feel like I need to be with someone to be happy. And also, it's put me in this position where it's, I know exactly what I want in a partner now.
Yeah.
Right? And...
Well, once you realized that you had what you don't want, you realized that.
Yeah, I had what I don't want twice in a row. So, actually, let's rack that up to about 4 years because of the one beforehand. 4.5 years because of the one before that. And yeah, and it's where it's this thing where I'm like, I'm at this really great spot where I'm healthy as hell, mentally, physically, everything. And I'm not, like, worried about all that shit. And I was for so long because I was so desperate to, like, be loved by somebody that I was just willing to take it from really negative sources. So, we have where I'm just now dating for the first time in 3.5 years, which is just weird because there's certain, like, aspects, because I don't, like, fuck with dating sites or anything like that. I think that's, I don't know.
I'm old school, man. So, like, if I can't...
It's disingenuous.
Yeah.
Well, and to me, it's, like, one of those things where every relationship I've ran into that meant something, whether the last two were negative or not, moments, a lot of those moments meant stuff. I was in love with both of them. I just bumped into those people. It was never I was looking. It just fell into place, right? So that's why I don't fuck with stuff like that. And then it's like, okay, but at the same time, we're in this pandemic, and there's not like a bunch of places to meet people. I mean, I've steady been seeing people since January, since that first month. Where I've talked seriously to like 2 or 3 people, and I realized, like, with after the first one, which I genuinely care about her, and if things had worked out, things would have worked out great, but they didn't. But the next 2, I realized I was like, and this sounds horrible to say, but it's one of those things where there wasn't that mental connection to where they would be talking to me, and I was just sitting there like, I really don't care what you have to say. Like, I'm not, like, paying attention or focusing on it. And I realized it was because I was dating those people because I was bored. And that we weren't in a relationship, but I was spending all this time with them because I felt like I needed to fill my time. Right? So there's that where it's, okay, I'm at this point that I'm like, you could call it picky, but it's more, I know what I want because I've dealt with the bullshit and I'm not going to deal with it again. Like, literally, it's, I mean, the last girl I was talking to, the main thing she was upset with is that we talked for like 3 months and I hadn't put a title on anything. It's like, I'm not putting a title on shit unless I know for a fact that I know exactly who you are. Because people can be great in the first few months, and they can all go to hell.
Yep.
Hence my last one.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know who you are, and if I'm gonna date again, I'm not trying to have a girlfriend. I'm trying to have like a partner, a wife, and shit like that. So if I'm gonna date someone, I want to be for sure that this isn't gonna be like a fling, you know. And I'm not saying I need to know I'm gonna marry somebody before. What I mean is I need to make sure I have that connection. Everything feels real, and this is what I want to go forward with. Because I'm not here. I'm 26. I'm not here to fucking play around anymore. You know?
Yeah, we're not in high school. Like we're not in the position,
dude.
Not just in the position, but the time that it takes to get there. And if you're doing that constantly, you're wasting away so much time.
Yeah, and dude, it made me feel old. I met an 18-year-old kid the other day, and he called me sir, and I was like, oh no!
I would have fucking slapped him.
And I was like,
sir.
dude, I'm 8 years older than you. Chill out.
Yeah.
I was like, that's like a 10-year-old calling you sir.
Yep.
But so there's all of those things, and then there's the fact of, okay, because of how my last relationship went, especially how it ended, I made promises to y'all, my people, my fucking family. Y'all are my family. You, Emily, Derek, y'all are my family, right? Lesbians, they're all my family. So it's like, I would describe to people, hey, you got like a 3-tiered interview process to date me. Where you gotta meet my Mexican, you gotta meet my black guy, and you gotta meet my lesbians, and you gotta get a pass from all of them, or this shit can't happen. Because I'm not just, we'll get to relationships next time in my past relationships, but I've had a very bad habit of allowing people to, one, really use me as a doormat, in which why there's been a lot of negativity and how I've never been truly happy in a relationship, but 2, isolate me from my people, and I'm not losing time with you again like I've lost before.
Right.
With you or anybody where I'm not going to go months without saying
and that's
no.
how I was in high school, and we're going to reference her as a lizard. So I dated this girl in high school.
He dated this lizard person.
This lizard human, right? And she is now the president of the United States. No, so we're gonna, for the sake of not calling people out, we're gonna call her a lizard.
It's a lizard person.
And in high school, I dated this girl.
Reptile.
Oh man, dude, she licked the life out of me, and by lick I meant like lizard wife. She did not. It was horrible. It really was. It was, and you were around for that. Lizard.
Yeah.
And it put me in such a situation where I could not see my friends.
There's a picture on my Facebook of you and I with that lizard.
Yes. So if you want to know who that lizard is, find a picture of me and Travis in high school. He was probably wearing a fedora.
I was.
I knew it. So I dated this girl for 11 months and 28 days because I broke up with her, I think, the day before our 1 year. The whole time, she did not want me hanging out with my guy friends because they were either attractive, that they would bring girls around, and she would be jealous.
Oh, I was about to say, I was like, did she think you were in a fucking boys? I mean,
or I wouldn't be able to hang out. Yeah, no, she would not take those.
Nah, she would not take me talking about.
Or I couldn't hang out with my friends who were girls because they were girls.
Yeah. She
was super jealous, super protective. But the thing was, and I learned this the hard way, and I don't know why I didn't break up with her this time. She lived she came from a city north of Dallas.
Okay.
Wiley, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
I went to go meet her dad over there one time, right?
Okay. Uh-oh.
She always talked about this ex-boyfriend that was much older, and that basically like ruined it for her. Like ruined guys for her.
How much older? Y'all were in high school.
Apparently he was like in his 20s.
Ugh.
But he was like that one guy in high school that like was behind.
Oh, so he was a dumbass?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. And so we go over to her little hometown city, and on the way she had disappeared for like 30 minutes while I was talking to her dad. She went to go meet this dude.
What?
Yes.
I didn't know this.
She went to go meet this dude, and I was like, what? And on the way back, like, we had gotten in a fight, and, like, there was this whole different thing. But everything that she told me, like, she didn't want me to do, she went and did herself.
Yeah.
Which was nuts. So, I lost all my friends, guys or girls. Like, I lost connection with everybody. My family didn't like her. They're actually the ones that named her Lizard. My family...
What was it in Spanish?
No, it was Lizard.
Oh, just Lizard?
Yeah,
okay.
They called her Lizard.
Okay.
And, yeah, dude, it was horrible. Like, that, when I broke up with her, The night I broke up with her, her stepdad called me the next day, and I was like, "Fuck!" Like he's gonna talk me like back into it and like how I messed up. This dude called me to tell me what took me so long. Mad respect to this man. He legit told me like, "You're fucking hard headed. Like you should have like broken up with her a long time ago."
Wow.
It was.
Was this someone you met?
No, that was her. That was her real.
That was her real dad.
Yeah, and he was a prick.
Wow.
But her stepdad was the one that like called me the next day.
Wow. Well, then that's the thing, right? And like I was talking to, I forgot. I was talking to the girls about this the other day. In that, so I had 2 relationships like that, where it's been where I haven't been allowed to see everybody because I'm in a relationship. I'm very much like, yeah, go hang out with your people. My biggest thing is be safe. If you're gonna drink or anything, call me and I'll come pick you up, and just check in with me. And that's it. I just want to make sure you're okay.
Right.
You know, that's it. I'm not worried about if you got guy friends. Cool. I don't give a shit. Like whatever. As long as like and here's the thing. As long as I'm like, because the one before last had a group of friends that I wasn't allowed to meet. And I was like, okay.
Were they the exotics?
Yeah, they were the car people. That I wasn't allowed to meet them. And I was like, something's up with that, and I didn't realize at the time. But yeah, I'm like, go do your own thing. I get it 100% but that's the thing too, is like, I want somebody who can not only is okay with me having my personal space coming and seeing y'all, but gets along with y'all and y'all love them.
Right.
Like I love Ashley, and where we can all hang out together, right? Because these past 10 months, my biggest thing is I have felt, and where I talk about that I'm happier than I've ever been, and I'm more content and I understand what I want more, is because of y'all. Because y'all have made me feel more loved and cared for in these past 10 months than I ever have in my entire life. And it's because I've gotten to spend so much time with y'all that like everything's been absolutely fantastic, and I'm not sacrificing that again. I'm not. I'm just not fucking.
It's not worth it.
I've got a small circle where it's like 7 or 8 of us, and like that's all I give a shit about. And I'm not sacrificing that because that's not.
And a lot of people think that like the more friends they have, the better. Fucking lies, dude. No. If you have a small circle of quality people,
it's quality over quantity.
Man, you have no idea like how awesome it is to just have a small quality of like a small circle of high quality friends.
But see, that's the thing with me is like that's my belief in all things in life, like quality over quantity. Like I don't give a shit about material stuff. I could live in one of those tiny houses in Austin with no issue whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Like it wouldn't faze me in the least bit. As long as I have enough room to get around, that's it. I don't care about owning mansions and shit. Yeah, if I'm gonna have kids, I'm gonna have to have those extra bedroom stuff. I don't care. Do I want to own a house? Yes. Am I focused on like getting a Gucci belt and shit? Fuck no. Why? What do I have to compensate for? I'm a giant dude with a big dick. I'm not fucking worried about shit. I'm not trying to overcompensate for anything like that. And
I can't relate because I got like 50 Gucci belts.
No, you fucking don't.
Metaphorically. I am not giant in either of those topics that he talked about.
Yeah, I'm just bullshit. It's all right.
I'm not.
I'm just talking shit.
But no. It is the fact of like
I don't have anything to compensate for.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm not worried about having the nicest car on the planet and wasting my money on that. I'm not worried about having a fucking boat. What is it with girls and like thinking boats are the shit? I'm legitimately curious because that's my one thing I'm weirded out by on Instagram where they're like, oh, there's like 6 of us on a boat. Look at us like holding the beer and moving our butts. I'm like, why are you acting like this is the best day ever? Like,
and the boat is rented.
You can
like
do that. You can do that at a pool at home. Yeah. You're on Lake Arlington. Settle down. Like you ain't out.
It's Joe Pool Lake.
You ain't out in Tulum in Mexico. You're at Lake Louisville. Settle your ass down, right? And like, if you're like at Possum Kingdom, I get it 100%, right? But you know, it's I just so already there's like a thing where I'm not a materialistic person, and like finding females who aren't like focused on that kind of shit. Like the only thing I like, I'm materialistic is about my fucking shoes, my J's and shit. Like that's it. That's the only thing I like fashion wise and all this stuff. Other than that, like dressing wise, I like to be comfortable. With my home, I need just enough room for me and my dog. My car is my mode of transportation. I'm not worried about having I'm not worried about overextending myself financially to try to impress people with stuff.
Yeah.
Right? I love experiences rather than things. Granted, I'm a gifty person. I love giving gifts to people. I love getting gifts. Like it's because it's like a thought. I guess that's what. I swear, girls with like their horoscopes and what's the other thing? Love languages. You know,
I don't even mess with
dude,
that.
like that's one weird thing about dating is this like the first time in my life I've heard like, so like what time were you born? And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? It was like,
I don't even know how to answer that.
Are you a Cancer moon? And I'm like, I have no idea what you're saying.
They're adding moons to these things?
Oh, dude, it got so extensive. I'll tell you about that one off air of who was asking me that. But then like I've heard multiple times like, what's your love languages? And I'm like, I don't understand. They're like, well,
I
what
would
do
have
you...
just answered that like the dumbest. I'm like, I'm fucking bilingual. Like, I can talk sexy in Spanish and English.
You want Spanish, baby? I got you. That's my love language.
¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
¿Dónde está la biblioteca? You ever heard German?
He just asked if you want fries with that.
So, I found out what the love languages are, where it's like words of affirmation, receiving gifts, acts of service, little things like that, right?
Okay.
And so I was like, okay. Then I've had it explained to me. It's like, okay, well, I do like giving, receiving gifts, but I'm like, I'm a pleaser. I want to give to my partner and do whatever I can for them.
Right.
Like, if I'm with a woman, I'm gonna treat her like a fucking goddess. I'm gonna give you whatever you want. So that's just how I am. But then, so we have all these different factors of one, I'm picky and I got to know exactly what I want. So it's going to take time. And some people want to put a title on things immediately. And it's like, I'm not going to do that now. So it's, if you're worried about that, where I'm got a dog-like sense of loyalty. So if I'm just talking to you, strong chance I'm not talking to other people. If not just straight up, I'm not talking to other people. And I'll let you know. If I tell you I'm not talking to other people, I'm not. Right? So I need to make sure before I put a title on this, because of the last two I've had,
Right.
I'm going to be apprehensive. Then you have to meet all my friends. Oh, and you got to be okay with the fact that I have a fuckload of female friends. I've got more female friends than I have guy friends. I've got you, Derek, and Landon. And then I've got all the lesbians and like 4 other female friends. So, you know, now lesbians, they're lesbians, you know? They're not going to do shit. And like, you know.
But sometimes that doesn't even change it, because there'll be people that are even intimidated about that.
Yeah, I know. And it's weird. Like, I'm sorry. I have female friends. I don't know what to do, and I'm not going to change that because I love them. You know? So there's that. But then here's the biggest thing. I guess we'll just get into it. I'm into weird shit. Kinky-wise. And, you know, it's one of those things that I didn't get to have any of that for 3.5 years, to where, girls, if you didn't know, guys, if you do this, we can. Where I faked it for the last 1.5 years. Because I hated having sex with this person. Hated having sex with this person.
Ticklish?
Yeah.
Are you talking about? Okay.
Yeah. Then plethora of other stuff. I think I've already told most of to you. But yeah, so I like faked it for 1.5 years and I hated it. And like, so I was sexually frustrated all the time, as well as all the other shit that was on top of everything else. And so now it's like, I have to like explain to girls, so we're adults, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, we know, like, in a relationship you have sex. Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna throw you a little thing of like, here's what I'm into. You give me a read on how you feel about the situation, and I'm up to negotiation. But there's like some things that I just kind of want to do. It doesn't have to be done all the time, but it's something I would like to do at a frequent enough time frame,
Right? Because
it really is what I get into. And I'm not going to go blatantly into here what it is. But it's something that has, like, especially when I was younger and, like, brought that up, it was scary to girls because I didn't understand it. But, like, in the past few months, anyone I've talked to about it, they're like, oh, well, I mean, that's something that I'd be willing to, like, learn about. But that sounds interesting, and the way you describe it is hot. So we can try it. And I'm like, okay, cool. But it's, like, at the same time, there's not always that thing of where we're in Texas, we're in a very religious state, and I'm like, yeah, you know, I like dripping candle wax on people and tying people up, and they're like, wait, what? And it's like, what kind of godless heathen are you?
like, I'm gonna show up with some assless chaps and a Carl Jr. burger.
But so on top of that, then there's also the fact that this kind of winds in with the last thing. We're in Texas, this is a heavily religious place. I'm agnostic, and one, that's a struggle. Religious people already like don't understand. They're like, well, why? And then I have to like break it down, and they always delve back to, well, you need to have faith. I'm like, well, I don't. Not in your book, at least. Not in any book. I think there is a higher power, yes, but I think with how heavily edited and how much man has had their input on all these books of religion, that you can't trust any of them to a T,
Right.
and especially with how many corrupt people there are in religion, such as the fucking Catholic Church, which my mother's Catholic, and I love giving her shit about being Catholic.
And we were raised class.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. So, but
such a confusing religion.
well, here's the best part, right? So I make all these like pedophile jokes to my mom about the Catholic Church, and she told me this is recently this past year. I've learned so much from my mom this past year, but she was like, "There's not that many. We only knew one." And I was like, "You knew one?" And she goes, "Yeah." And I was like, "Who?" Because she went to like, what do you call it? Like, well, Catholic school.
Mm-hmm.
She was taught by nuns, and I was like, "Okay, well, it's not nuns." So I was like, "What priest did you know that did this?" She was like, "You know, the one who married your father and I." Bro, the guy who married my parents was banging little boys.
Damn.
So you gotta talk shit to my mom the next time you see her about that.
Shit, sounds like kill me.
But yeah, so it's like, and then I have to approach people that like, I'm sorry, but I've read all the books. Like, you want to talk about saying, "Oh, I don't understand it." I've read the Bible extensively. I've read the Quran. I've read the Book of Mormon, which was the best comedy book I've ever read in my entire life. Yes, because I'm like, this is so ridiculous. I've never heard anything more insane. So I've read all those, and like people.
I don't think is Mormonship. Is that the one where they don't celebrate birthdays?
What? I don't know.
Is that a thing?
That's one where they can like have a bunch of wives.
Oh, Jehovah's Witnesses. I think Jehovah's Witnesses don't celebrate.
What a
certain
weird
things.
thing. They don't celebrate birthdays.
Yeah, because I used to have a guy that worked for me at Wingstop, and for people's birthdays, like I would get them a small little cake, and I bought this little man a cake, and he just like
He was a little man.
he was legit like 5'3".
Oh shit.
And he straight up, after seeing his name on the cake, he goes, "Oh, I don't celebrate my birthday. It's against the religion."
Really?
And I was like, "What?"
Well,
Yeah, it was odd.
and that's one of those things where I've had to like talk to Christian people.
I may be wrong. I don't know.
Where they talk about like Muslim people, and it's like, no, I read the Quran, and I read it because I worked with a bunch of Muslims for 2 years when I was waiting tables and hookah lounges, and I met all these people that I was like, oh, y'all are nothing like the news make it seem.
It's one of the most peaceful.
It's a beautiful. It's the way they do things and how they celebrate, and like, it's interesting. Like everything about it, and it's religious where they're not supposed to put toxins in their body, so they don't like. They're not allowed to drink, so that's why there's so many of them who smoke hookah. And it's called the peace pipe. So in America, where we would sit around and have a beer, over there they sit around and they would all smoke a hookah together, and that's just a form of bonding for them. But I mean, there's so much more to the actual religion itself, where there are some ass backwards ideas, just like there are some in the Bible as well.
Right.
So it's I've read all these things and I've looked into it. And I've studied Buddhism, and I thought like that was beyond interesting. Where that's not even more of a religion; it's more of a way of life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just I've never felt connected to any one thing. Therefore, I believe there is a higher power. I do not believe there is a reason for us to have consciousness, emotion, and intelligence and desire to build and do the things we want to do without there being something after this, right? But that's very hard to like for people who are very religious to wrap their heads around. So it's one of those things where it's like I can't really date very religious people because especially if like their family's religious and they find out I'm agnostic. And it's like and I hate this because it's something that like people hear my last name, so they think I'm Catholic
Oh, absolutely.
automatically. They're like, "Oh, Saint John, yeah, you're fucking Saint John, you're Irish Catholic as could be. Let's have a shot of whiskey and pray to the Jesus and then fuck a little boy." Yeah.
Whoa.
Don't do that, please. I'll fucking hurt you.
Give the child some Heineken.
Oh my god.
Or what Michael Jackson called Jesus juice.
You know what's fucked up about that? You ever listen to the song "Pretty Young Thing"?
Yes.
If y'all
I
have
like
it,
his music. It's
his
so weird.
music's so good. But re-listen to "Pretty Young Thing," and I want you to think specifically about this. Michael Jackson sings "Pretty young thing, repeat after me, saying na 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 na," and you hear a children's choir then go na 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 na. And you're like, "Oh shit! Was that a you letting us know what's going on there, champ, behind the scenes at Neverland Ranch?" Anyways, enough about molesting. We're talking about dating.
I think we've gotten.
We knew this was going to go off the rails. Anyways,
little
as
off
long
the
as we
rails.
get back to the original topic.
Yeah.
So it's like all these factors, and that it's like, okay, am I really looking? Kind of, sort of, but not exactly. It's more just, if someone just pops up at the right time, cool. But it's like I'm not actively pursuing relationships right now. So it's like if something falls in line, I start hanging out with somebody and things start going well, and then I bring them. I'm like, okay, so time to introduce them to everybody. See, and they can like. If they get a pass, if they get the stamp of approval from each person,
it's gonna be like a third.
We're gonna make a resume for people, and I'm gonna give each y'all a stamp, and you gotta stamp it.
It's gonna be like a multi-tier interview process.
Yeah, basically. So,
but I mean, I honestly, that's how I saw it. Like in that big gap that we talked about. Like, I didn't have one person that stuck around.
So what was that gap? Wasn't it like something crazy, like 7-8 years?
It was 10.
Holy
almost
shit.
To the day. Yeah.
Wow.
It was 10 years, like from, because me and Lizard broke up. Oh shoot, I'm talking about like a week before graduation.
Wow. Yeah, 10 years.
Yeah. So, so that was 2010. And Ashley and I got together late 2019. So
yeah, so like 9 and some change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was really just trying to find myself.
Yeah.
Like physically, mentally, emotionally. And there was girls that I like dated, but never became official because they never passed those rings for me.
Yeah.
Because like after me and Lizard, I literally sat down and I wrote down what I don't want in a relationship.
You're so much smarter than me. Any girl that was like, Travis, I love you. I'm like, you love me.
I'm like, get away from me!
You can have whatever you want. Bankrupt me, it's okay.
Dude, yo, fuck.
Yeah, well, you know.
And like, I wrote down everything that I didn't want in a relationship. And anytime that I started talking to someone and I would cross like one of those things that, well, she does this, I would cut contact right off. Even if that person was like super cool, like I stuck to this like this list. And dude, it took me forever.
Yeah.
And it was just one after. I mean, I had one girl that like she didn't make any of the list, and then out of nowhere she tells me she's a gypsy and she can't date me because she's gonna ruin my life.
What? Yes, you're gonna have to show me this after the podcast.
It was so weird. She straight up like, I thought we had a connection, blah blah blah, and then she straight up told me like, I'm a gypsy. I'm like, honestly, I don't know what the fuck that means. Like, do you go and beg for money?
Do you go from place to place and cast spells?
What? Gypsy. And like me and her cut ties there, and then there was another one that just like she was cool, but my friends didn't like her, so that just made me not want to. Because like you have to be around my friends. Like I'm always, especially like that was another thing. Like if you're telling me like I can't hang out with someone, complete turn off.
Yeah. Because
I did that for almost a year, and it was miserable. I couldn't go to my family's because she wouldn't. It was so weird. It's so weird. She did not want to learn the language.
Spanish?
She didn't want to learn Spanish. She thought it was stupid.
No,
she thought
do you know how beneficial being bilingual is for you?
Not just that, but like...
I can't roll my R's, so
I've always planned... Like, my kids are going to be bilingual.
Yeah.
And they're going to learn an extra language. Like, they're going to learn 3 or 4. Like, they're going to be fucking smart. She didn't want to do it. She didn't conversate with my parents. Like, if she ever came over, she would literally walk through the living room, walk past them. They would say hello. She wouldn't even acknowledge them, and she would go to my room.
Well, see, so that's where it's funny.
That's so disrespectful.
Where I had the opposite, where obviously, you know, the last one was Bulgarian, and the one before that was Vietnamese. Mm-hmm. So the one thing I didn't like is when they would, like, talk to their kid in front of me for, like, a long conversation, and would only speak in their language, and which is like, I'm sorry, you know, Spanish I can kind of pick up what people are saying, especially if they're like directing it towards me. Right. But obviously, I would love to actually learn it. It's just having the time to do it. But Vietnamese and Bulgarian, dude, you couldn't go.
You couldn't figure out.
I have no basis whatsoever. Right. And then like, especially the Vietnamese, I could have probably learned Bulgarian. It would take me a long time, and it's having the time to actually do that because all my spare time had to be dedicated towards her. So it's like, when am I supposed to learn Bulgarian? Are you going to teach me? No, you're not going to teach me. So when am I supposed to learn?
Right.
But the Vietnamese, dude, I never would have learned how to say that. Like, I would love to try and learn Japanese, but I couldn't learn.
But that's the thing. Like, you would make an attempt.
Yes, I would make an attempt. But here's the thing: is at the same time, it was something, at least with the last one that got brought up, where she would complain about it, and I'm like, well, no, because one, y'all have never given me, like, I tried to talk to her parents spoke great English. Both of their parents spoke English very well, right? But there's times where they would just talk to their kids for an hour and a half in front of me, like, just in their language, and I'm like, y'all know English very well, and like, like they spoke it fluently, perfectly. And I'm like, I'd love to be included in the conversation, but I can't. Like, I'm learning phrases and stuff like that, but I'm not fluent yet. So I'd love to, like, actually pipe into the conversation. Right. And I'm sorry, these are two things I have zero basis in whatsoever. That if I restarted learning Spanish, I'd be able to probably conversate within 6 months to a year.
I mean, like, you carry conversations with my parents.
Yeah.
I mean, they speak English well, but I mean, sometimes it comes out broken, but...
Yeah, but I get it.
Yeah. No, she would not even make an attempt.
Yeah,
she thought it was something that, like, she came off as, like, if they want to talk to me, they can learn English.
Well, and here's the thing, with both of my exes, too, I also, like, lived with them and their families for a while, so it's all one of those things where I interacted with them every single day, morning or night, and so I've always put in effort and put my best foot forward with whoever I'm dating's family.
Right.
I'm always going to try to, because it's like, ideally, if things work out, you're going to be my family, so... Yeah, there's certain things like with my ex, there's certain things where it's like, you know, you may not like about your in-laws and you just kind of keep your mouth shut. Like my ex's dad was very fucking racist against black people, and he went on a tangent one night and was saying all this horrible shit, and he was like, so tell me, what do you think? And I was like, I really disagree with you. Like, that's it. I was like, I mean, I could sit there and call you a racist piece of shit, but I'm not.
Right.
I'm gonna.
I mean, there's some
even
kind
though
of.
you're being,
I mean, there's gonna be some kind of mutual respect there.
There's gotta be some, but it's like you're being very disrespectful because so many of my friends are black that I was really kind of fucking pissed off.
Right.
But also, I'm dating your daughter. I've been living at your house. You know, and it's one of those things too where it's like. Racism is shit racism and homophobia is shit I don't put up with in a relationship. So it's like, if you want to show that, sorry, I don't really have any white friends. So
yeah, so I that was like one of my lists. Like, you cannot just come around my parents and not say hello, good morning, good night. Never. Like, she just had that, and it made me so mad because if she was trying to. One thing about Mexicans, and you can probably know this if you ask your neighborhood Hispanic. They live with their parent. I live with my parent. They live with me, but
your parents live with you.
I have them in my house. Yeah. In some way or form, your Hispanic friend either has his parents live with him, or they live with them. Like, it's a respect thing, especially immigrants.
Same thing in Asian families.
And it's a small knit family. Like, I don't have a lot of family here, which is why I have like, I consider you family and like a lot of my close friends family. Cut. So if you can't get along with my family, that's a no for me.
Yeah.
So there was not so many, but there was like a handful of girls that like I would get to know, and they're super cool. And then I bring around my friends, and they would just sit on their phones and not interact with like people that I consider blood. And people don't understand, like, blood doesn't mean y'all are family, man. Like,
yeah,
I have family I don't even talk to. So
yeah.
Yeah, like
same.
This guy and like TJ, Richard, like, Nolan, like all like my boys and like people that are close to me. That's family, man. Like, I'll take a bullet for them. I'll do whatever. I'm on DACA, so I can't get into trouble. But I got you.
You know what I'd do to keep you in this country, big guy.
We're not getting monetized. That's for Pornhub, not YouTube. But I just couldn't do that, man. So like, it was crazy. On the fact that they would, like, she put no effort but expected me to like go above and beyond for her family.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I'll do that if it's reciprocated. Like, it's a mutual thing.
You just said the word. You just said the one fucking word that is everything to me when it comes to dating now. Fucking reciprocation. I need everything 50-50. Because it has always been in every relationship I've been in, I've put in like 90% of the fucking effort and I've gotten 10% back. Dude, I want someone to be like, I don't want to say show me respect, because that's like, sounds egotistical, but I want somebody.
But you also show respect, so like, it's a mutual thing.
Yeah, so it's like, I want the respect, love, care that I give into it, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, if I haven't gotten that because I've always given so much that it's just been, okay, let's use him as a doormat because all he's doing is giving.
Yeah.
Right? So it's just one of those things where I want that reciprocation, everything 50-50. It's like, and this is another fucking problem for some girls. Ladies, I'm sorry, but if you're one of those ones that you want to be taken care of and you're in your mid to early 20s, don't fuck with me. Because I'm not, like, if you expect me to just, you're not going to have a job and take care of you, nah. First off, I'm not attracted to that shit in the least bit. I like girls who have goals, want to work towards something, not just be like, I want to be a stay-at-home trophy wife.
Yeah. Like we're your daddies, but we ain't your father. So, like, that's all.
I hate that word,
Is
bro.
that what, we're going to cut that. We're going to.
No, we're not. We're keeping it.
Oh, we're keeping that. I like that joke.
But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I want someone who has goals and things they want to do. But also, here's the thing.
And that's so fucking attractive.
Yes.
Like,
it's
Ashley is... And that's one thing that, like, I love about her, man. Like,
Say less. Come on.
Dude, she is driven.
Yeah.
Very driven.
Like...
And I love that shit. I do.
It's so attractive,
and
dude.
I love that shit where I meet, like, a girl that's like, oh, well, no, I'm like, actually, you know, I'm not saying... I was about to say I'm going to be a doctor, and I'm just like, you know, that shit, I'm not a doctor, so it doesn't fucking me. But it's like, if you have goals and you say, you know, if I ask you, like, what are your plans, like, in the next 5 years, if you don't have an answer for me, or you're just like, oh, well, you know, I want to,
I don't know.
be working at home.
Yeah.
But if you're like, well, I'd like to advance up to be a partner in my company and do this and have a promotion after 2 years, do the steps, and then in 5 years be a partner, I'm like, fuck yeah, that's right up my fucking alley. Where it's, you know, I'm doing this and then I want to like own my own business and do this and do that. It's like, fuck yes, that's exactly what I want to hear. Not, oh, you know, I want to like be dating a guy that makes well over 6 figures. I can just stay at home and pop out a couple kids.
Right.
It's like, because it's one of those things where it's, I feel like I want kids, but it's not like a priority for me right now. And then I think I want to open my businesses first, keep fighting, doing everything I'm doing.
Right.
And then at a certain time, like in early 30s, then start talking about it and do it. I feel like that's a solid age to do everything, and then you can have most of your shit figured out by then. But I want somebody who's driven, who has goals and has things they want to do. And here's the thing, and this is the biggest thing for me because I haven't had this before, ever. It's whatever your goals and whatever your stuff is, I'm going to fucking support you. If it's something that you have to study to like pass some certifications for whatever business you're doing, I'm going to fucking help you. I may not know the shit, but I'll quiz you and stuff like that. I will help you do what you need to do. But that being said, I want that support too. Support me on my job, support my mental health, support me on my fighting, because that's something that I'm going full throttle with this again. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to stop like I did last time. I'm going full throttle. So I want your support, knowing that I need to spend time with my coaches. I need to do this. You can come and watch for sure. Come on. And that just turns me on thinking that somebody wants to come and watch. Hell yeah. Watch Landon kick me in the fucking head. Fucking Hawaiian piece of shit. Pineapple eating bastard. I love saying racist shit to him because like he's Hawaiian, so you're like having to make shit up because there's not racist.
There's nothing.
So like, you pineapple eating motherfucker. And he's like, what?
You islander.
But yeah, it's finding those people that like everything that I've said today. It sounds like it's being picky, but it's like, nah, this is just what I'm looking for, and I'm not willing to settle for less at this point. I know exactly what I want.
And see, that was my mentality the whole 10 years. Is I know what I bring to the table.
Yeah.
Like, I hold myself to a standard that even when I was in the lowest and I was fucking lonely and I never brought myself down.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I know what I bring to the table. I'm gonna tell you straight up what I'm gonna do. As in, like, you know, I'm gonna take care of you. And I don't mean it as like, hey, you know, come live with me, I'm gonna pay your rent. I was like,
yeah,
I'm gonna take care of you in the ways that you need to. You know what I mean?
Say less. Say
Foot
less.
massages. But like emotionally, physically, like,
yeah.
One thing that like I completely love about the relationship that I'm in right now is it's completely 50-50.
Yeah. And there's the connection.
And there's a connection
on all levels.
On all levels. Like, mentally, physically, like, we do things, and this is what I mean by like reciprocating. Even the smallest thing goes the long way. So we have this thing where like she used to work at a country club and she was having horrible days. She hated it there, and she wanted to go work somewhere, and I was supporting her, like, hey, get out of there, put yourself in a better mental state. Every time she would have a bad day, I would send her $10 through Apple Pay for her to get some coffee. Every time she's like, oh, I'm having a bad day, or if the alarm never went off, by the time she got to work, she had $10. Whether she can do it. And it got to the point where, like, if I went to work and I was having a bad day, there was a notification on my phone saying, you know, $10, and then it's the little things. Because, like, this morning, I overslept. And I rushed to work. And I have a Keurig, I can make coffee. By the time I got to work and I was tired, it was just ding. and it was like, hey, coffee for this morning, and
That's
it was just
cute.
$10. Like it's literally the smallest thing.
Yeah, and I agree 100% because I'm such a gifty person. That's like I love bringing home flowers and shit like that randomly every day. Or if I'm gonna
Ashley gets flowers once a week.
Yeah, and you know this because like I bought shit for you before. That's like if I'm just at a store, it doesn't have to be for your birthday or anything. It's just I think Jose will like this, and so I just bring it back and like.
Dude, I love that Deadpool with the turkey.
Yeah,
amazing. I loved it.
So it's little shit like that where that's for all my friends. Where it's like Landon's had these shitty ass beat up gloves that wouldn't even like Velcro down. And, like, you know, he's coaching me and everything he's done for me. So I, like, bought him new gloves. And he's like, why did you do this? I was like, you need new fucking gloves, motherfucker. That's why I did this. And it's one of those things.
And it's not even a thing that you expect to get from someone. Because I'm a big believer. And I'm the same way. Like, I'm not very religious. So I'm not religious at all. But I believe in karma. So, like, I feel like if you send all those positive vibes, when the time comes that you need those vibes back, it'll happen. And that's what I did, like, since I could remember, is sending out those good vibes. And then when I lost my brother, I got all of that back.
Yeah.
And in different ways, whether it was just like, hey, come outside.
Yeah.
You know, I'm taking you to get some food or get my mind off of things or you know, the one, you know, like the Funko Pop or just small little gestures, man, goes a long way when you're in a place like that.
I'll tell you the reason why. Is because we're not saying this in a materialistic sense. At least from my side of things, as we've talked about this, that for whatever reason, maybe it was everything that happened to me as a kid, I have like extreme insecurities when it comes to like me dating or anything like that, where it's I always think that, you know, that I'm always like an afterthought, right? So getting something like that, to me, it's just like you were just randomly in your day thinking about me and thinking about something I would like, and you just brought it to me like that's it's the thought to me. It's one of those things that you could bring me home a fucking pair of socks and I'd be like, fucking thank you. I appreciate that shit. Like, I love shit like that because it just shows at some point in your day when we weren't together, you were thinking about me. And you were just like, Travis needs some socks. He got a bunch of fucking holes in the socks. I was like, thank you. I appreciate that shit. Man. I know I got a bunch of holes in my socks. I'm cheap as shit and I don't like throwing shit out. But yeah, and it's one of those things that's it's reciprocation. Reciprocation is the biggest fucking thing for me.
And it goes a long way.
Yeah,
it goes a long way.
It's like if girls want to talk to me about love languages and shit like that, I'm like, well, cool. You tell me what it is you need. Even if it's kind of out of my wheelhouse, it's something I will do because you tell me that's something you need. And so that's the thing too, is like in dating, which this was a huge problem with me and my ex, is like, let's put, for example, like there was this one time, there's this group of people she hung out with that I didn't care for because I didn't like this girl's boyfriend because of comments he would make to girls my girlfriend was friends with, right? And I'll be like, yo, your girl who's about to be your fiance is right over there. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And so I didn't care to be around him. And that got brought up one time. I was like, you can just go without me. She was like, well, I was like, well, I don't really care to be around them. She was like, oh, so you don't want to be? I was like, look, I go because you want me to go. And I want to be there for you and like spend time with you and all this shit. And there's other people there I like, but I don't particularly like this person. And she was like, oh, so you just don't like being around my friends? I'm like, that's not what I said. I was like, that's not what I said. I was like, I don't like this one person, therefore I don't care to be around them, but I still go to support you and be with you. Like we went to the zoo. We went to the circus one time. I fucking hate the circus. I'm a giant animal rights advocate. I don't believe in hurting fucking tigers and shit like that and predatory animals. And it was to the point like tigers there, like it honestly was making me tear up the shit that was happening because I was like, this is fucked up. Like we just know this is wrong now. And she brought up one time, I was like, look, we got into an argument. I was like, there's so many things I do for you, and you like don't even care. And she's like, what? And had brought up like the circus. I was like, I didn't want to go back in that shit. She's like, fine, I just want to ask you. I was like, that's not the point.
Yeah,
that's not the point. That's not the point I'm making at all. What I'm trying to explain to you is like, here's the little things I do that you don't even notice, or you just don't care that I'm doing things for you when I've told you this isn't something I care to do, but I do it because you want to, right? And that's not something that was ever reciprocated. There, it's like if I wanted to go do something, well, I don't want to do that. You know, it was never like for example, I love going to the movies. She hated going to the movies because I can't like pause the movie if I.
Why would you want to pause? The only reason I don't like going to movies with you is because you're so damn loud. That's the only reason. I hate going to the movies with this guy because he's so fucking loud. He laughs so damn loud. There's times where he'll comment on it. Like, no! Don't go down the hallway! It's a full movie theater, man. He's the guy. Like he's
Dude,
the
horror
guy.
movies, I'm the worst.
He's the guy
I'm
that
the
I would throw
worst.
popcorn at to make him like shut up. But we sit next to each other, so I gotta tell like people that I'm with this guy. That's the only thing. Like I love going to the movies because we go and see good ass movies.
Yeah.
But you fucking laugh so good. You're so loud. But anyways,
Fuck
besides
you.
the point.
I'm like, I think something's funny. I'm gonna fucking laugh. What do I just go?
No, but you scream.
Bro, it's just funny.
Laughing.
Oh, and you know what? First off, fuck you. Fuck your face. That leads right into my next topic. I'm not being anything other than my fucking self for anybody ever
Oh,
again.
dude.
I am never being anybody other than my fucking
it feels
self.
so good.
I'm not
to not put on a mask.
I'm not gonna sit there and like try to reserve certain parts of me or any shit like that. Like, dude, my ex literally told me one time, she was like, "Why do you talk to people so often in public that you don't know?" I'm like, I'm being nice to people. Like, what?
But you're
What am I doing
you're a
wrong?
personal person.
Yes. I walk past somebody, and it's one of those things that this has been a big thing for my mental health is being supportive of others. You don't know who walking down the street is almost at the verge of suicide or having like the worst day of their life, and you can walk in and be like, "Hey, motherfucker, I like your shoes," and they're like, "Appreciate you, motherfucker."
Yeah.
I'm just
I
kidding.
do that all the time.
I'm just kidding. I'll call people motherfuckers. Say I like the shoes, but you never know. I'll sit there and walk past, and I'll be like, "Wow, like those pants are dope." Just little things like that. You know, it's weird. I'm trying like to think of something I would confidently.
Like I usually go for like especially like people I work with.
Yeah.
If I notice something, dude, like there's people get a haircut, dye their hair. Dude,
Yeah.
I love that color.
Yeah.
Or I didn't even recognize you. Whatever.
Holding the door open for random people. Dude, shit
But that's
like
the thing.
that,
Like
yeah.
we're such personal people, and that's one thing that like actually, whenever we go out to eat or like we go out to the store or whatever, either locally or randomly like outside the city, and I run into people, she thinks I know everybody.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like I'm just
bullshitting with people.
We just bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, there are people that we run into that like I knew at some point, but she would straight up be like, dude, we went to like the gym in like the middle of nowhere, and he knew who the person was working out.
Dude,
And
I was at a party one time, and this dude I'd never met before was wearing a Pulp Fiction t-shirt, and I looked at him and I pointed, and he just kind of looked at me. I was like, "The path of the righteous man is beset," and he goes, "By the tyranny of evil men, blessed is he." And we were just friends, you know. And I'm just gonna do that.
Cool,
I'm gonna do that
like,
with strangers.
The fact that you don't have to, the fact that I don't even have to put it, and that's one thing when I said like I learned who I was and like what I brought to the table.
Yeah.
I'm fucking weird sometimes. I either say weird shit, I do weird shit, or just a weird shit.
So
but not having to put on a mask for someone is the coolest fucking thing.
And here's the thing, right? So I was talking to this girl recently. Great personality. Loved her personality. Dude, we watched anime together on our first date. You want to know how many girls have watched anime with me willingly? Fucking that girl. That's it. She's the only girl that's willingly been like, let's watch this shit.
I had to bribe Ashley to let me watch Avatar in the same room.
Yeah.
She was so into Korra, but Avatar she could not get into.
Weird. I kind of get it. It's slightly Myrtle. But yeah, so that being said, I just wasn't like sexually into her. And so it was one of those things where it's like, we had started out that way where we made out and stuff, but I was like, can we just be friends?
Can we just watch anime together?
Can we just be like, hang out and watch anime together so I can bullshit with somebody?
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's, you know, it's just at this point, I've talked to quite a few people in the past 10 months, and it's just like, nothing's been, like you're saying, not everything on the list was checked off. You know, there's some things where it's like, do I expect anybody to be the picture perfect idea of what I want? No, I don't. So it's like, if a couple of those things aren't there, that's perfectly fine. But it's like, my biggest thing is, if parts of your personality are wanting to dull parts of mine by your choice, like, I don't like how much you talk to random people in public. I don't like how loud you are in public. Little things like, not talking about the movie theater. I get that shit.
Right.
I understand that shit completely, because I know. Let's put it this way. When Jose's talking about being in the movie theater, I'll literally sit there and I'll be like, so in this scene, Michael Keaton, you know what happened was he actually, like, he kicked that thing and he wound up breaking his fucking toe. So that scream you heard is just real as fuck. And then I'll just see Jose like this.
I like to enjoy the cinema. I like to be in contact and not tell me, yeah, Leo right here broke a glass and he actually started bleeding.
If any female who's ever like gonna date me is watching this shit.
But also, it's so fucking funny because I do that. Like, I got
exactly.
So Ashley, like, her brother and her nephew are into wrestling, right?
Yeah.
but she knew who wrestlers were. She knew the big ones. She knew Goldberg, Undertaker, Ric Flair. She knew the big people. She started watching wrestling with me and got hooked. But I'm that person that's like, yeah, so this girl's actually married to the and like we'll be watching it up here, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, so this girl right here, the one with the fake hair, yeah, okay, so she's actually married to the guy making the costumes.
That's not bad though, because there's not a ton of dialogue. Like if it's a
I
wrestling
know,
match,
but I do it every single time.
Yeah.
We watch a pay-per-view or we'll watch like NXT or whatever. Every episode, I'm like, oh yeah, so like Andrade is actually dating Charlotte Flair. Yeah. He's like, and she'd literally like roll over and look at me like you just did and go, I know you already told me that. Or like Sasha Banks comes out and I'm like, hey, that's Snoop Dogg's cousin. And she's like, dude, you tell me that every fucking time. And it gets to the point, and I freaking love this girl because she'll be like, hey, is there any pay-per-views this weekend? I'm like, what pay-per-view? She's like, wrestling. And I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, I want to watch wrestling this weekend. I'm like, we can watch some old paper. Like, I have the WWE Network. Like, we can just watch some stuff from the 2000s, like the good stuff. But and then the cool thing, man, is like after going all that time with having not to really like struggle, but like cutting all these people out that you were just like, man, like this is taking forever. Yeah. I started hitting 25, and I'm like, what the hell? My parents are asking me if I'm gay. Like, no, I'm kidding. But the thing is, like, my parents and me being with DACA and stuff, they wanted me to get married ASAP so I can fix my papers. Yeah. Right? That's not what I wanted to do.
We've already talked about it. So
we're not going there. That'll be a rated R.
Before Jose had Ashley, I was like, look, I'm gonna keep you in this fucking country, bro. If they come for you, shit, Jose's my life.
Let's just say Travis. Let's just say Travis offered for me to hit him on that dingly thing on the back of his foot. Am I wrong,
I will keep you in this country.
Okay, so that's not what I wanted in life. I didn't want to get married. No.
One time, I shit you not. So one time, Jose and I were talking, and then I brought up like issues with my ex to him, and I don't remember if it was you or I who said it, but one of us just goes, "Wouldn't it be easier if we just wanted to fuck each other?" And I was like, "Bro, you're so right. Like that'll make things so much simpler."
Damn. Okay, so that's not what I wanted to do in life, right?
Yeah.
I didn't want to get married, get a citizenship, get divorced. Like I just felt like that was such a. It defeats the purpose. Like marriage to me, it's something that you do once.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
that has nothing to do with religion. That has nothing to do with everything. No. It's just that's what I see. What it is.
I'm telling you, I
don't care if you're a man, woman, man. Dude, I don't give a damn. I don't care. I don't lose sleep on who fucks who.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get married just for papers and then divorce and then just like use this person, right?
Yeah,
so
100%.
I don't think I pissed them off, but they were kind of like, come on, dude, like we've done so much to get you here, and then you're telling me that you don't want to marry. Like,
I think it's hilarious your parents thought you were gay. Like, it makes nothing but sense that my parents would think that I was gay. Theater, journalism, improv. I wear a lot of pink. Like, there's times, and I can say this because I'm friends with a bunch of gay girls. There's times my dad was probably like, "Yeah, Travis is a faggot, I'm sure."
Yeah, so there was just so much time that happened, and to be able to be in a healthy relationship now is the fucking best because I don't have to put up a front.
Yeah.
My friends fucking love her. She loves being around my friends. And my parents love her. She loves being around my parents. She is a little shy, so like but once it breaks off of that, like it's completely fine. Mm-hmm. Her family loves me. I love her family. Like it's such the perfect, like, don't get me wrong, no relationship is perfect.
No.
And that's what makes it perfect.
Yeah.
You know, like having some issue or having to go through something. And to be honest, for two people dating the last year and a half that we've been dating has not been the best just on both of our sides.
Yeah.
You know, like losing my brother and then, you know, losing our baby. And then it's just a whole...
Coronavirus.
And then Corona, it made our relationship. All those downs made it literally skyrocket
because
up.
It's showing
it
that
brings
even
you closer.
It's showing that even in this time of struggle, it's we need to work on this, get better, and not, oh, I want to leave.
Right.
If you're thinking when you're in a struggle in a relationship, which we'll talk about this more in the next podcast we do about relationships, if the first thought is not, if your first thought is, okay, let's talk about this so we can figure this out and go forward, that's good. You're going to progress. But if your thought when things get bad is, I need to leave,
or how do I get myself out of this?
You probably
Yeah,
need to
it's
leave.
not.
You probably need to leave.
And that's not a healthy thing.
No.
And actually, like, learning how we're morphing
Yeah.
into the same fucking person. Like, our sense of humor. Dude.
I know.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have a twisted sense of humor because, like, I'll be sweet and all, and then I'll just, like, fart. So, like, no. So, like,
bro, that's not a twisted sense of humor.
No,
if
no,
you're
no,
like,
no.
you know,
I'm saying, like,
you know, I love knock jokes and then I love Holocaust jokes. That's a twisted sense of humor.
okay, yes, I've made some. I'm not gonna get there. I'm not gonna.
Okay.
I'm not putting that on the internet.
We're gonna get canceled.
Yeah.
Before we even get paid.
We're gonna pay them to air our shit. And like, she makes jokes.
Yeah.
Like, I make little dick jokes all the time. I make little dick jokes all
Every
the time.
time you bring this up, it makes me fucking laugh, dude.
It's so funny. One of the reasons I do it, and it's like, my brother used to make little dick jokes all the time.
That's amazing.
It's so, and he would always talk about how he had a chode. And it always cracked me the fuck up. It was so funny. He would talk to everybody about that. And I started making little dick jokes to kind of just like honor his memory and the fact that he would make those jokes towards me.
Yeah.
You know, like I heard all the mini weenies and the, you know, the, what's it called? The Vianney sausage.
Yeah.
And
well, you know, so you of course know my dick's called Optimus Prime. And the reason why is actually a girl that I was so chill with made this joke when I was 19, where I was 6'2", I'm a big dude, and well, I'm a grower, not a shower, and she like comes up to me one time, she's like, you know your dick's like a transformer, and I was like, pardon? She's like, yeah, you know, you see it, and you're like, oh, okay, that's cool, and then you get hard, and you're like, oh, wow, that's way better. And I was like, she's like, yeah, it's like, you know, when the transformer's a car, you're like, oh, that's cool, then it turns into this badass robot. I was like, did you just say my dick's Optimus Prime? She was like, yeah, we should start calling it that.
See, I call mine Excalibur when it's in the rock.
It's the hilt.
Before they take it out.
It's the hilt of Excalibur.
It's before they even take it out. But she makes little dick jokes all the fucking time.
That's amazing.
And it fucking cracks me up. And at first, when she started actually saying them, it started hurting my feelings. On the fact that, not on the fact that I have one, because I already know, but, and I made peace with it. But the fact that she made the joke before I did.
Oh my god.
And I would just look at her, I'm
She
like,
beat me to it.
holy shit, like she's getting fucking good. Or like, because I roast on people, man, like that's what I do.
It's fun.
She fucking does it. She does it all the time. But when I'm talking about like, she's very, I wouldn't say insecure, but she's so weird when it comes to like progressing in a relationship on the way of like being comfortable. So like the whole farting thing was so fucking funny because like for the long, I don't care, I'll do it. One day we were watching The Haunting of Hill House.
Oh my god.
Right? And there's like or I don't know if it was Haunting. There was a scary movie we were watching, and what's that movie called? It's the one where it's a deaf author and she.
Oh, Hush. Hush. So good.
So we were watching Hush. And, you know, there's stuff going around and blah, blah, blah. And then I pause the movie, right? I pause and I start looking around.
You fucking
And
jackass.
she goes, what's wrong? I was like, you hear that? Straight face, man. Like, actor came out of me. And I'm like, she goes, what? She starts, like, getting up, right? We're, like, laying in bed. I'm like, did you hear that? And I just... Dude, and every time we're watching a scary movie and it starts getting kind of, like... good and it starts doing that, I just pull that card every time.
So I can say this because anytime I reference my ex, only like y'all know who it is. So that's a weird thing is that I've never like done that relationship, right? I've always thought that was like odd. It's like I don't even like piss in front of like if you're in the shower and you can't like watch me piss, that's okay. But it's like so I've only ever farted in front of my ex like twice, and it was on accident, right? It was never on purpose, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry. But one time...
See, the only reason I started doing it, because she kept calling me out that I did it in my sleep. I'm like, well, I might as well.
One time, one of the few times we had good sex, like, we were going at it, and, like, she, like, got off, and as she got off, you just heard... And she goes, I fucking hate you! And I was like, what did I do? Because I start laughing my ass off, right? And I'm like, what the fuck did I do? And she's like, you did that. And I was like, how? How did I do that?
Oh, man. But, yeah, once you find that, dude, it's the coolest thing.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, don't get me wrong, I struggled because I was single for 10 years, you know? Like, I didn't have to depend on anybody or, like... vent to someone.
Yeah.
So when I got into this relationship, I was like, wait, I don't have to hold in all my emotions. Like, I can talk to you about whatever bothered me today, or
Oh my god, dude, I need this so bad.
like, you don't mind that, like, I can lean on your shoulder and just talk about how shitty my day was. It's so freaking cool.
Well, and that brings up a solid point that I've like talked about before.
Would you unlock that?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Cut.
Look at it, got me.
No, it doesn't want you.
So that brings up a solid point of things that you and I have talked about before, where what led to my mental health issues is there is a stigma that men are supposed to just suck it the fuck up and not talk about our emotions, right? First off, if you're a female and you like tell your man that, fuck you, because you're putting his mental health at so much risk.
Absolutely.
That's ridiculous. And guys, if you ever tell a girl she shouldn't talk to you about her emotions because you think it's dumb or she needs to suck it up, fuck you as well. So that's a big thing where it's like y'all have to be able to, when dating in a relationship, whatever the hell it is, in marriage, you have to be able to vent to that person and talk to that person about here's the little things that bother me. It may not even be about here's the thing that's bothering me about you. It's here's the things that's bothering me about work or my relationship with my family or my relationship with this or whatever the fuck it may be. Or it's just, I'm having a really bad day. Why? Oh, I don't know. Like, that's a big thing I know with guys is like, I've seen guys like, yeah, she's just always in a bad mood. I'm like, have you tried fucking talking to her about it? Instead of just saying why and just, why don't you just feel better? It's like, actually do something for her to like help. Like, girls got periods and all this shit that give them hormones that make them fuck up and upset and they don't know why, and that's just a thing. So how about you suck it up, rub her feet, suck her toes, whatever you're into, and then
get the wax,
like
Bed Bath & Beyond, have a half off, baby.
But do whatever you need to do for your partner. If it's just like fucking holding on to him for a little bit, letting him cry it out. Sometimes that's just all it needs, or talking out. It's being there for each other in every single way possible. Reciprocation in every single way. And mentally, emotionally, and physically reciprocation. It's making sure your partner, it's like that old saying of doing to others as you would have done unto you.
Absolutely.
It's the same thing with your partner. It's treat your partner the way you want to be treated. And I mean, that's it. And that's like all I'm looking for at this point. And it's, it's a picky thing. It's like, I don't want to be 30 and still dating, but at the same time, I'm going to wait for like the right thing this time. Oh, and let's get to this fucking point. So during this pandemic, don't know what the fuck's been going on. In the past 3 months, fucking 4 of my exes I've been in communication with.
So weird.
It was the weirdest shit.
So weird.
For the first off, 2 of them started following me on Instagram. That was weird as shit. One of them I had talked about in our last video on my suicide, reached out to me and like apologized to me on shit because she watched it and she knew I was talking about her.
That was so odd because I talked so much shit. I was like, fuck.
So, but she like everything she said, I was like, this is very mature of you. She like denied the cheating thing, but it's like, whatever. But it's like, this is very mature of you to do what you're doing and all this shit. And she brought up at the end of it, it's like, she sent me this long paragraph, and I was like, I was hoping bygones could be bygones and everything. I was like, look, I wouldn't have let you follow me on Instagram if like I wasn't chill.
But that's the whole point of growth, is just letting all that behind.
So it's like, I had like my first like real girlfriend ever follow me on Instagram, and her and I have talked a little bit. And then XX. And then my ex, I did a bad thing, so then my ex emailed me, and I did something that upset all of you, my friends.
Yes.
That made y'all very upset.
Turned off your phone.
I knew, so, okay. So, we'll go into...
And then when you called, I answered, and I was in the middle of something.
Yeah. So, we're not going to full depth about this. My ex emailed me and listed all these things, like how you and your family are doing well, and all this shit, and the reason she had to email me is because I have her blocked on everything. She's a fucking crazy person. And she was like, I'd love to see you and talk to you. And something in my brain was like, that doesn't sound like a bad idea. And so at like noon, the day I knew I was going to see her, because it was quick. It was like, she emailed me the night before. The next day, she's like, yeah, come over to my place and we'll talk. And I was literally going into this just wanting to talk. And I knew what I was doing was wrong because of all the promises I had made to him and Emily and Derek. And I turned my fucking phone off because I was like, I told all of them she had emailed me. And if I don't answer them for however many hours I'm going to be there, they're going to know where the fuck I'm at. So I thought the better idea was just cut my fucking phone off, right? So my phone was vibrating on the counter the entire time. I go there. Sure enough, she's just filling me with bullshit the entire time about all this shit. And I'm like, no, you're the same exact person. And the entire time I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't know why the fuck I'm here. I don't know if I'm looking for an apology. I don't know if I'm looking for answers. I don't know what the fuck. All I know is I don't want to be with this fucking person. And I don't know why I'm here. So I leave, turn my phone back on to 16 missed calls, 23 missed text messages. Derek, Emily, Jose, and I'm like, oh, shit. And then there's like, Jose's like, Emily called me. Where are you? And then Derek's like, hey, Emily hit me up. And then Landon, hey, where are you at right now? I'm like, oh, shit.
I called Landon.
And then,
I'm like, please tell me who's with you. He's like, who? I'm like, oh, God damn it.
And then Emily's texting me like, you call. She left a voicemail. And I listened to the voicemail. And I got so genuinely scared because she just goes, you call me back. I know where you are. And I was just like, oh dear God. And I saw a text message just, I'm coming to your house. I'm at your house. Why is Bear in the house and you're not here? Because she has a key to my fucking place. Because that was a rule we made since she works near me and you can have a key to my place if you ever need to go there and chill. So the first thing I do is I call Derek because I know he's going to be the most neutral one out of all of y'all. And he's just like gave me some of the best advice I've ever been given my entire life that inspired the suicide podcast. God damn, I don't want to call it suicide podcast. The mental health podcast you and I did, where I like confronted everything about myself that I did. And then I called you because I knew you were like my neutral good, that you were gonna be mad at me, but you weren't gonna be livid. And you picked up in the middle of doing stuff, we'll say.
Yeah, we'll play Twister.
Yeah, and you were like gave an honest, good piece to me on everything, and then I called Emily, and
I knew she was gonna chew you out. So I was like, okay,
Bro, I call her, and the phone clicks on, and she goes, "Did you really go over there?" And I was like, "Yes." And she goes, "Get to our house now." And I was like, "Oh shit!"
You drove over there,
dude. She made me drive over there night. She was like, "You are not staying at your place tonight. Come to the fucking house." And I was like, "Okay." She goes, "Go get Bear and come to the house." And I was like, "Yes, ma'am." And I go over there, and bro, you know Emily's fucking mad when she won't look at you.
Yeah.
And dude, all the lesbians are like, all the girls are like sitting at the bar counter, and like the door closes behind me, and I hear them talking, and then it just goes silent. And I was like, "Oh no!" So I start like walking over there. And then I see Emily's looking through Erin, her girlfriend, through the wall into the universe. And I'm just like, she's just looking forward. Imagine you're me. And she just goes, "Explain yourself." And I was like, oh shit, I'm nervous.
I think I texted her the next day. I was like, "Did you take care of it?" She's like, "Yep."
I knew that was so happen. I did a bad thing. Nothing happened. I don't know why I went over there, but all that. So that happened. And then the last thing, which with the last ex, I kind of initiated this one, and it's because I just told Emily about this story about this girl I dated when I was 19, right? And it's the one girl that I have more respect for. I respected her more than I've ever respected any woman in my entire life, and I love the hell out of this girl. And for the brief time we were together, like, I can tell you the exact moment I realized I loved her and I didn't tell her. And it was because of all the circumstances where her mom had died. And I was there like in Austin trying to comfort her and like get her mind off it. And I was like, it's not appropriate for me now to tell her I love her. And then she was dealing with all this shit. And then when she came back, there was like miscommunication. She was struggling and we wound up not being together.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's one of those things where it's like I've thought about her on and off, and I feel like a big problem with me in dating is that I've always tried to compare girls to her because she is fucking perfect, like in how she talked to me, how she treated me. Like, let's put it this way, just a small story is one time her and I were talking, and this is me when I was 19, so I actually knew at the time. She was like, "So what's your number?" Because she was a virgin, and she was older than me. She was 21, and I was like, "I think it's this," and she goes, "Wow, you're a whore." And her saying that upset me because of how much I cared about her and respect her. So I walked over to her, kissed her on the top of the head, and I just left. And then 20 minutes later, I get a text message, "What the fuck? Where did you go?" And I was like, you fucking called me a whore. She's like, "Okay, well, I'm sorry. Why did you leave?" And I was like, "Because who the fuck's bed am I sleeping in every night?" I was like, "How dare, like, why the fuck you call me that when I'm sleeping in your bed every night? I'm only associated with you and all this other shit. I respect you so much. I haven't tried anything because I know you told me you wanted to wait and all this stuff. And it's because I respect you so much." And she was like, "Travis," she was like, "why did you leave then? Why did you walk out the door? Why didn't you talk to me about this in person?" Like, it was such a mature response to that. And I've never had someone who's like talked to me or handled a situation like that so maturely, where I was the one that was being immature because I walked out when I should have stayed and talked about it, and that's what she wanted. But she didn't respond to my negative response with more negativity. She just wanted what was bad for both of us. So, and I literally, I'll tell you off air, like, the moment I knew I love this girl. So, I thought about her on and off, and then Emily had asked me something, and I had brought this story up when I knew I loved her, and she was like, "You should probably talk to that girl." And I was like, I don't know if she's still dating the guy, because she was with the guy that she got with right after me for like the past 7 years or 6 years. I don't know. I think they've been on and off because her people she knew that knew me had brought her up to me before and would like talk about, oh, they have issues and like they've been on and off and all this stuff. But yeah, so I just went to follow her on Instagram because I had her blocked, unlike any reason I've ever had for blocking next. I had her blocked because it was hard for me not to talk to her because I wanted to so bad, because I was like, you're the one that got away. Yeah. And that if I had stayed with her, I'd probably be married now. And let's put it this way. I was so sprung over her, dude, that like there were times that like a year later I'd gotten drunk and I called her. And I was really? Like, yeah, bro. Like, you know me. I don't do shit like that. Dude, I feel like such a dick for this. So, the guy she got with after me, when I was dating XX, we went to a rave, and I saw one of my buddies there that I knew from UTA, and he was like, "Yo, Travis, what's up, man?" I was like, "Oh, shit, what's up, brother? How are you?" And right behind him was the girl she was dating, but I was dating XX, and it had been, I don't know, 9 months to a year since I had last seen her. And the guy looks at me, and he was like, "This is my buddy, yada yada." And he was like, and he goes, "Yeah, I know who you are, you're Travis." And I was like, "Oh, you know who I am." So I reach out, he shakes my hand, and in front of my ex, in front of her, I go, "She's the best girl you're ever gonna meet, don't fuck it up." And he just kind of like looks at me really big. She heard it, bro. It was such a fight after that shit. But yeah, so yeah, damn. You know, like I felt so fucking bad about that shit, but I meant it at the same time. Damn. So I like followed her on I just sent a follow request to her on Instagram because her shit's private, because I was like, I'm just curious, you know. All of a sudden I see accept, request to follow, and I'm like, really? And this is like 24 hours after, so it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know if she considered or what. Let her follow me, and then I like give it 2 days, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing, right? Because I don't know if she's dating this dude. And so it's one of those things where it's like, is it my place to even say anything? And I was like, you know what, I truly respect this girl and care about her, and know it's been, has it been 7 years, 6-7 years? And I just DM'd her and I was like, "Hey, I know you just graduated from your master's. I just want to say congratulations. I think it's amazing everything you've done, and I'm beyond proud of you." And she just replied back, just, "Thank you, Travis. That means a lot," and all this stuff. And like, that's all there was to it. But it's one of those things where it's like, you know, it's one of those things that gets confusing, because I'm like, okay, you follow me back on Instagram. Your dude knows who I am. So if y'all were together, would you have actually followed me? And would you have talked to me? And there's like all those. I put myself. So all this shit has been so confusing the last like 75 days, because I've been in contact with every single one of my exes, and it's just like weird. I'm like, why did all of this happen in like a 75-day time span? Yeah. It's granted, I know I initiated that one, but it's like everything else. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what is it about this pandemic or what happened? But it makes them realize what they missed out on. Well, here's my thought process. where I think you and I have discussed this before, that energy's radiating. And it's one of those things where if someone is truly happy in a situation, I think people pick up on that, even if it's through social media or something like that. And so maybe that's a thing. Granted, X, she had to email me. I have all my shit on private because of her crazy ass.
Right.
So why she would have reached out to me, I don't know. But with everything else, it's like, is this just people can see I'm in a solid place, or like what the fuck? It's just raised more questions, and I've realized like, because of my personality, how I am, that I like to dwell on shit like that. Then I'm like, I can't with this. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. If she ever messages me back and we wound up talking or seeing each other again, fucking awesome. And I hate to say it, even if I was dating somebody else, I'd drop it for her so quick. Like, if I was talking to somebody else, if I was in a relationship, I wouldn't. But if I was talking to somebody else and she was just like, hey, I'd love to see you, you fucking best believe. Like, that girl, to this day, she had such a positive impact on me.
Yeah.
And everything like that. And I'm like,
wow,
that's the one that got away. Yeah. So that's one of those weird things.
It's a weird time we're going in.
It's odd, and dating's been weird, and it's interesting, and I hope, for people that are coming out of long-term relationships or people who have had 10-year gaps, this is like helped.
And it's so, because like
outside of our dick jokes.
Yeah, that's true. But like even throughout this pandemic, when like restaurants and like we're big movie guys. Like, yeah, we love watching movies, and
we love going to Sheems.
Yeah, so it was so weird having to. Not only they were close, but they would only do delivery, so we would drive out there just to pick it up.
Yeah,
and then
just say hi to Sheem and everybody.
Yeah. And then the movie theaters not being open, like we had so many movies.
So many movies are being delayed, and we're gonna miss out on a bunch of movies and stuff.
Not just that, but a lot of them were going to like demand or straight to Netflix or whatever. So we would just do that. So we actually started doing and you can see some of them up on that side. I built a little shelf and we have movies and stuff. We started a little tradition where we would go to the store, we'd go to the Walmart or whatever, and go to the $5 bin. Yeah. And we would basically our date night would be through Corona was we would just draw a movie off the $5 bucket and then watch that, pick up a couple snacks, and like we love doing that, and just having to like kick it, watch a movie, eat a bunch of snacks, and like just have a good time.
You know what's funny? I wanted to bring this up and I completely forgot to before we end this. When you were talking about like Ashley warming up to people and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. So I remember so vividly when you introduced me to her. So we go to Ashim's. Ashim's our guy. Go to Ashim's Hibachi in downtown Fort Worth. It's some of the best hibachi you'll ever eat in your fucking life. He's the shit. Tell him Travis and Jose sent you. They'll take care of you.
Their sushi's amazing.
Yeah, get the Jose roll.
Get the Jose dynamic roll.
They put jalapeno in it, those racist Kazakhstani motherfuckers.
Hey, but it's amazing, man. Their food is great. And they actually just got their liquor license.
Yeah, they have. Oh my god, their sake sucks.
No. They got their liquor license.
Oh, did they?
They have a bartender machine.
Say less.
They literally put the drink on an iPad and then the machine makes it for you.
That's badass.
That's awesome. So, Ashim, sponsor our next video because
what up, champ?
This is gonna be dope.
We love him so much. He hooks us up all the time. So, you text me and you're like, "Hey, I want you to meet this girl," and I was like, "Okay." And
wait, was that the day we got hammered on the sake?
Bro. Okay, the serious thing about Ashim. Ashim loves us because we used to work next to him and we would go hang out with him and have lunch there like all the time. Ashim just wants to get us fucked up every single time we go there, where he brings us a bottle of sake and he takes the first shot with us and then it's just like, knock it out, fellas. And he'll bring us like big bottles.
When they first got their sake machine, I'm not a big fan of warm sake. So like that to me is like drinking piss. It doesn't taste like it, but it's just the warmth. I'm not a big fan of it. I'll drink it, have a good time.
He brought us
when they got the machine, they brought us, I think it was right before you got there, they had brought Ashley and I a small one, and I drank that. And then you came in, or it might have been a different time.
That was a different time.
So
because we drove together for when I first met her.
Okay. They brought us a big the big container of the sake. We drank it. Ashley doesn't like it. His brother came around. Ashim's brother came around, Sam. Then he brought us a different one, and then we drank it. And then I think Devin came over and was like, "Hey, have y'all tried the sake?" And we're like, "Yeah." And then he came by and grabbed another one. So the first time that he officially met her, we were hammered.
Plastered on fucking sake. So the best part was, I could tell she's apprehensive. And here's the thing, I'll tell you, if you're meeting your partner's friends, be yourself. Be yourself. You just got to do that because other people that know someone so well will know when you're, at least if they're smart, they'll know when you're being disingenuous and shit. So just be yourself. Yeah. And so I know I'm meeting his partner, so it's like, you gotta like me for me, so Travis down to 100. So she's kind of like apprehensive not talking so much, and I hadn't seen each other in a bit, because this is like
probably like 3 or 4 months into Rona. No,
it's been, y'all been together for over a year.
Oh,
right?
That's probably yeah.
This is
yeah.
I don't even know if y'all were like together at this point. This might have been the first time I dumped. I think this was the first time I dumped you. Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah, something like that. And so she's like kind of apprehensive in the backseat. You and I are bullshitting, talking because we hadn't seen each other in a bit, and I can hear she's like being quiet, and so I just kind of flip around the seat and I'm like, so what the hell did I tell you about me? And she was like, well, he told me that, you know, you kind of just say anything that comes to your head. And I was like, this is correct. And she goes, and then he said you slap your chest whenever you need to burp or cough and say, get the demons out. And I was like, oh, you mean this? Get the demons out. And she was like, yeah, that. And I was like, I love that those are the two things used to describe me.
Dude.
But what I love is like, so she had that, and I turned to her and I started bullshitting with her immediately, and then we get to a Sheems, and she sees us, how we're talking, and she warms up immediately. It took maybe 45 minutes before she was like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she was the only one that was sober.
Yeah, she was the only one that was sober. She had to drive her asses home, and we were saying dumb as shit. And I think I even told her one time, I don't think I was drunk, and I was like, yeah, you know, I told Jose if Doc came from my sucker's dick, keep him in the country. I'd marry him. Like, I'd fuck him in front of the judge, whatever they needed.
Yeah. But that's how I do with all my friends. Like, whenever he's like, because she gets nervous and how to approach, and I'll just tell him, like, I'll give her the spark notes, like, blah 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 blah, and then it just clicks.
Yeah.
And everybody that I brought her around, like, they loved her. So
yeah,
it's
funny because I do the same shit. Not so much with y'all because I just want to be themselves, but like when I introduce girls to my parents, and they're like, so like what? And I'm like, if my dad talks to you, that's a good sign. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
If he really talks to you, I was like, talk about if that person went to college, talk about your college degree, talk about your goals you have, and talk about this, and show that you're smart, and he'll love you. Then if he talks to you, he likes you. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
If he doesn't acknowledge your presence, he doesn't like you. And then my mom, as long as you talk to her, she's going to be perfectly happy. Mm-hmm. That's all that you need to do that. And then Aaron will probably ignore you, and that's about it. He'll say hi, bye, and that's all you're going to get out of that situation. But yeah, and so with y'all, it's just I want them to... I don't even like giving cliff notes on that because it's like I want them to just be authentic around y'all and just see how they do. Yeah. And it's different because it's like, you know, not every girl I've dated, I don't think any girl I've dated has had like my personality where it's just like you can stick me in a group of... If you brought me around 20... the first time you like brought me around TJ and shit, TJ and I started bullshitting immediately. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things that you could take me to any party of 50 people and you bet your ass I'm going to try to find something about every single person in that room that we can talk about, and I'm going to talk to you about. Yeah.
And see, I went to a party with you and someone... it was miserable!
Oh, that was so bad.
I literally went to this party not knowing anybody, and I tried to talk to every single person there, and I could not click.
And here's the thing, too. There was this guy that was touting all this MAGA shit and built a wall. And that's the guy I was just talking about that I didn't like being around his ass, and it's because he said stupid shit like that, and then would hit on girls because his girlfriend was so nice to me all the time, and I think they're about to get married if they're not already married, and he would like hit on other girls to a point that he hit on our roommate, and I told I told her, I was like, you tell her or I'm gonna DM her and tell her. Those are your fucking options. And she's like, I don't know. I was like, you tell her. You and oh my god, you and her tell her, or I tell her ass. I was like, those are your options. That's a really bad inside joke. I was like, so y'all either tell her or I tell her. Mm-hmm. Those are your fucking options, because what he said to her, nah, that girl's too fucking nice to me. Y'all either tell her or I tell her. And so they wound up like telling her, and she like almost broke up with his ass and all this stuff, and made him like repent. He apologized to me, and like my roommate and all this stuff, and I was like, bro, I don't want you to fucking apologize. I just don't want you to be a piece of shit. Mm-hmm. Like, that's it. I was like, your girl's too fucking nice. First off, way out of his league, and then way too nice to like be deserving any of that shit. But yeah, I remember that party extensively because he started spouting all this MAGA shit, and I'm like, bro, read the fucking room, man. I was like, you're saying this to a Mexican, my guy. Like, I promise you, this is
It
not.
It was so
awkward as shit. And
I was ready to go.
we were trying to like move away, but he was like trying to talk to you and I, and it's like, dude, just get the fuck out, man. Like, I can't with this shit. Yeah.
No, it was. Yeah, it was a fun time. And by fun, it was completely.
And I think it wound up just being you and I talking shit about most of the people
Yeah,
there.
that's what it was.
It devolved down to we found our own little corner.
Yeah. Yeah, like I literally tried to talk to every single person there, and I just. Nothing clicked. There was not one person where I was like, okay. Like, the one person I was there for was drunk, passed out, and I was like, oh, what the fuck am I going to do now? I'm like, dog, we just got here. What the hell?
Oh, shit. But yeah, so, I mean, this has been fun. We're going to try to do these pretty common where it's going to be topics like this, or it can just be us, like, bullshitting and going off the rails like we did for most of this anyway, but I feel like we're still on topic pretty well and got good points across.
I think we got points across, man.
So this is Taboo Talk. We are the Ice Cream Boys, and you will be seeing this. This is our new channel, the Ice Cream Boys, and we're going to be doing a bunch of shit on here that we're going to try to do consistently, but we're going to do this at least weekly is what I would like to do. I think you'd like to do too. Yeah. And there's times when we may double up on episodes. It all depends on how much time and shit we have. But thank y'all. Like, comment, and subscribe on this. Go ahead and share this if anything you feel clicked with you, whatever that may be. And we will see you guys next time.